Hi, my name is Cullen, and I'm a personal injury attorney in Winter Park, Florida. Every year about this time, and I'm recording this video in June of 2020, every year about this time we start to ease into our famous hurricane season here in Florida. Obviously, the vast majority of Floridians will never have a hurricane claim or will not have any hurricane claim this year, but unfortunately, some people probably will, and so I wanted to shoot a short video to describe some ideas that we have for ways that people can make the hurricane claims procedure a little bit easier on themselves in the unfortunate event that a hurricane hits and your property is somehow affected by a hurricane. The first tip that we have is to make sure that on the insurance side you understand the provisions of the hurricane coverage that you have. So it's probably a good idea to yank out your homeowner's policy, look at the hurricane coverage provisions that you have, make sure that your deductible is a number that you feel comfortable with. Those can be adjusted somewhat, and so you want to make sure that in the event there is a claim that you can afford to pay the deductible that's assigned to your case. And you probably also want to make sure that if you've had any changes to your property, in other words, if you added rooms or added square footage, or made any significant changes to your property, that is known by the insurance company before a hurricane claim happens. So, make sure that your insurance house is in order before the hurricane happens. That would be the first piece of advice that we have. The second piece of advice that we have is make sure that your important paperwork is all preserved somewhere. Now, we would usually advise people back in the old days to take their paperwork with them or save it in a safety deposit box in the vault of a bank or something like that. But these days, probably the best thing to do is to scan all of your important papers, your deeds, your titles, marriage certificates, birth certificates, important papers like that, social security cards, scan them and upload them to the cloud so that they're stored somewhere else out there in internet space that's not in your house. That way, if your house is damaged, if you have water damage or wind damage, you don't have to worry about finding your important papers. You can always find backup copies of them up there in the cloud on the internet. So you use Dropbox or iCloud or one of those services to save all your important papers. Our third tip is to make sure that there's documentation or records of all of your stuff. In other words, make sure that your personal property, if you have receipts for certain pieces of personal property, the big ones, the ones that are most important to you, make sure you have receipts saved somewhere. Also, the cloud would be a great place to save these receipts. But what we recommend people do is go through your house and around your house and take pictures and videos of your house, the structure of your house, so that later on an insurance adjuster could see that your roof was in great shape, that your house was not damaged in any way. So go around your house and take videos or pictures, and then go inside your house and take pictures and videos of your stuff. So just go through your living room and make sure that they can see later, if it ever becomes an issue, what the make and model of your television was, or your stereo system, or your rings and jewelry, or different things like that might be damaged by a hurricane. Just make sure there's a record of them. Make sure there's a record that you had them and what they look like, and if you can, figure out how old they are, so that you don't get into some kind of dispute with an adjuster someday about whether you actually did own a big screen TV or whether you did have a diamond ring that was worth X number of dollars. So just make sure that there's a record of all your stuff. And again, with video and still images, you can upload those to the cloud too. So you don't have to worry about your camera getting wet or losing it or something like that. So those are just 3 easy tips to help you in the event that you unfortunately have a hurricane claim. Let's hope that you don't, but if you do, those are 3 tips. There's probably a ton of other ones. If you have any ideas that we didn't cover here, please include them in the comments on our YouTube page. And we'd be happy to maybe do a video on the comments and some additional ideas that people had. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that we have a really low-key hurricane year here in 2020 and every year afterwards, and that nobody loses anything as a result of a hurricane. But in the event that you do, or you have questions about them, please reach out to us. We would love to answer your questions. You can reach us by telephone at 407-254-4901. You can always text us at 407-644-4444, or you can even reach out to us via the Facebook Messenger app.